My partner opened her son's room without permission and she went hysterical when she walked in on him and his girlfriend. But she flipped even more when I told her to get over herself. I have been dating my girlfriend Kelly for nearly 2 years. We are currently on vacation with her son Ryan, 23, and his girlfriend Emily, 23, as well as my niece, and her boyfriend. He's been dating Emily since high school. They lived together for 5 years. Ryan paid for his and Emily's portion of this trip. When we were planning this trip, Kelly said that Ryan wasn't allowed to share a room with Emily. I thought she was joking, but she was not. I know Ryan is intimately active, and I've known by word of his mouth since he was a teenager. I said fine, and the technical plans were that Ryan and my niece's boyfriend would share a room, and my niece and Emily would share a room. Obviously that room arrangement wasn't going to last. Everyone was fine with the technical room arrangement. The girls even had a slumber party one of the first nights. Ryan picked up that this was just to appease Kelly. I handed him his keys and said give the second one to whoever, and he immediately gave it to Emily. My niece did the same in giving her spare key to her boyfriend. This is exactly what everyone thought would happen. Anyway, somehow Ryan had left his wallet in our room last night. Instead of bringing it to him at breakfast or knocking on his door or even shooting him a text, Kelly used the key in it to walk into his room. She saw things she didn't want to see. To be fair, they weren't having intimacy. What was described to me was that they were both nude, covered up at least on their bottom halves, but they were snuggled up and he was running his fingers on her back. This sounds like how most loving couples are after having intimacy. She was in hysterics. She refused to come to breakfast. I told her that was fine, but she wasn't going to make this a big deal on our vacation. Emily very sweetly apologized to me and said she knows how Kelly can be, which frankly made me feel terrible. When I went to retrieve Kelly from the room, she was still in a mood. She expressed to me how upset she was, and I told her be thankful all she saw was the snuggling and not the actual act. That made her really upset, and I told her she was overreacting. Ryan is an adult who has been with the same woman for years. She has confided in me before that she doesn't like Emily, but frankly I've never seen her do anything wrong. She's a bit punky and Ryan is a bit more preppy, but she's a sweet person who cares deeply for Ryan and vice versa. She called me every name in the book when I told her she was overreacting. She called him a child and accused me of taking Emily's side over her. I'm genuinely concerned. I've even considered the possibility that she forgot to bring some mood-regulating medication because I have never seen her act like this, and I'm being shunned by her for being an a-hole. Currently we're all sitting on the beach while Kelly mopes inside. Update: I spoke to Ryan before anyone else, apologizing on Kelly's behalf. Since I've known him the longest of the young couple, I figured it'd be easier to talk to him. He was surprisingly understanding of the situation, and apologized back to me for starting this whole thing, which I let him know was a ridiculous thing to apologize for. Before I even had the chance, he himself brought up emotional incest, and said that that was something she was really bad about when he was a teenager and still needed to work on now that he was an adult out of the house. I spoke with Emily and the conversation went similarly. Ryan has always been very strict on his boundaries surrounding how his mother treats Emily, usually leaving her alone for a few days or weeks until she is able to be respectful towards her again. When I asked them both if they knew why Emily was disliked by Kelly, neither of them knew exactly. Emily did suggest that right before Ryan moved out, Kelly had walked in on them actually having intimacy. Her reaction was even more extreme than this one. They had just graduated high school, meaning Ryan was about 3 months from 19 and Emily was newly 18. This argument caused him to move in with Emily's family, which according to Ryan was extremely tough for Kelly. That event practically thrust her into needing to deal with her attachment issues and trauma, because Ryan told her he would no longer be in contact with her unless she started going to therapy and working on herself. The day of the post, Kelly was able to get an emergency appointment with her therapist. After that, she had calmed down significantly and I was able to actually talk to her. The first thing I asked was what the actual hell was going on. While her unhealthy attachment to her son is at play, she told me the situation was triggering and sent her spiraling, then referenced the circumstances regarding Ryan moving out, which we had never spoken about before. She has a lot of trauma surrounding being a single mother, and certainly has abandonment issues. Ryan's father was a brief, few-week fling who she thought would want to stay with her to raise a baby, and ended up leaving her alone. I decided to ask her why she disliked Emily. At first she said it was because she was loud-mouthed and had Ryan by the balls. I told her to rephrase in a more productive was, and she said she was opinionated and Ryan would move mountains for her. While I do adore Emily, she is certainly opinionated, but very intelligent and extremely respectful and polite. Additionally, Ryan hangs off of every word she says. He has told me himself that she's always the most interesting person in the room to him. That's not to say that both of them are perfect. In fact, I saw them bicker about a plate of fruit yesterday, but they are both great together. I told Kelly she should be proud that she raised a son that loves and appreciates his significant other so much that he has openly admitted that he would do anything for her. That lightened up her mood significantly. Funny enough, her therapist suggested she to talk to her primary care doctor or OB/GYN about menopause. Her therapist suggested her medication may need to be adjusted if that's the case, as the extreme reaction was frankly out of character, and there have been other mood-related issues she's been dealing with. Finally, Ryan and Emily had joined us in a conversation. It was filled with a lot of apologies, a little bit of tears, and a surprising amount of hugging. From what I gather, this is not the first conversation of its kind between the three. One thing that was spoken about was how Kelly ended up with Ryan's wallet in the first place. Ryan is not someone who forgets their wallet, or their keys, or phone, or any other personal item. There was a brief argument about whether or not Kelly took his wallet, but she denied this, and Emily suggested it just fell out of his pocket when he laid on the couch. The biggest topic of conversation was Kelly opening the door with no invitation. She was not able to give a rational reason for doing so, and finally agreed with Emily when she had said that Kelly just wanted to catch them off guard. Ryan also put Kelly in her place as far as boundaries go, which I have seen him to but before but I'm always impressed by, considering I remember when he felt like he had to just let his mom do whatever she wanted so that she was happy. Kelly accepted responsibility and spoke rather openly about her conversation with her therapist, which led to a lot of compassion and understanding from Ryan and Emily. Emily expressed her gratitude for Kelly accepting responsibility, and even suggested they get a drink together. It was generally agreed upon that this entire situation was ridiculous, and that everyone just wanted to enjoy their vacation. Kelly finally gathered herself enough to join us all for our vacation. I feel at ease knowing I can finally, actually relax. Since then our days have been filled with drinks, beach, good food, and naps, and I couldn't be happier.